Welcome to Conscious Wellness with Lori Ellis. Hi, I'm Lori, your host. This is the show where we dig deep. We rise above the noise, clear the clutter, and find out what really works. The positive, effective, and sustainable ways to create a healthier, happier, and stronger life. And I'm so excited to bring you this episode because I know you'll find value that you can apply today. And if you haven't yet, please click on the subscribe button. Please rate and review. Thank you so much, and I'll see you inside the episode. Okay, hi Karen.
Hi, Lori. How are you?
I'm so well. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so excited for this. We met on a social group, and I was so drawn to your positivity, just instantly drawn. I was like, this woman is doing some cool stuff, and I want to learn more about what you're doing. And so I asked you to be here, and here you are.
I'm so excited to be here, and
I am
it's
so
fun.
excited to have you here. Now, what I love is you call yourself a positivity growth coach. You are a positivity growth coach. So first I want to know about what that is, how that came to be, and then go wherever you want to go. I have a couple of key questions that I do want to ask you, but go wherever you want to go with that, like how far back you want to go to maybe something that happened in your life at some particular time that was pivotal, that created a shift, that allowed you to think about, because positivity is powerful. You and I had a conversation before we started recording about how powerful that is and how necessary it is for all areas of life and business and all the things. And so where was that moment, and what was that moment that you had that shift of knowing, like I could make a choice to be positive, and that's going to give me
Okay.
benefits.
So, there's a couple of different things. So my choice to be positive, let's try to see if how fast I can make it work with that. I was born with a heart defect, and as a young child, growing up, I knew I had a defect. I didn't have symptoms that I was having terrible problems or anything like that, but I had to go in for cardiac catheterizations and different things. And I was in the hospital as a child. I did have asthma also, but my mom was really great in just being like, yes, you have something, you're going to have to take care of it. Growing up, I had to take, I still do, antibiotics anytime I had any kind of when had my children, I had to have intravenous antibiotics because you can get something called bacterial endocarditis, which can cause your heart to have problems. I don't even have pierced ears because at the time, well, sometimes you get pierced ears and you get infections. That's a problem. And dentist stuff like that. Anyway, I didn't live in the, oh, what woe is me kind of a thing. I have a problem. I did know that I'd have to have heart surgery at some point. But my mom always kept a positive attitude, actually, regarding all of it. She was, just that way. And fast forward, my mother actually came down with cancer, and she was 60 when she was diagnosed. She was given 2 years to live with ovarian cancer. And she decided, well, that's not going to happen. And she continued with she just was like, I'm going to fight it. I'm going to live my life. She was a nurse also, so she knew, all the different things. And she said, I'm not going to I'm not going to sit and be like, oh no, well, my life is over. I'm going to fight it and I'm going to be happy. And she went on trips with my stepfather, and she played with her grandchildren, and she just lived her life. And she lived 12 years after they told her she was going to have two.
Wow.
And in a nutshell, I know for sure it was her attitude of, I am going to have a positive attitude. I'm going to greet each day. I'm going to be thankful, grateful. And that is something I incorporated. Being grateful for what you have, not for what you don't have or what your circumstances are. I mean, she went through a divorce when she had two small children. She went through a lot of different things. And that started with me, that feeling of, well, I'm not ever going to be in this position where I'm going to be, you'll have your days and when you're sad and mad and upset. And I talk to my clients and my friends about things all the time, that being positive doesn't mean that you're walking around going, oh, I think it's wonderful all the time. Uh, So what is that from the Lego movie? Everything is awesome. That's not it. It's about looking at taking something, feeling bad if you need to feel bad, feeling sad, living in that, and then and even if it takes you a day or so, or even longer, you can feel bad, but then you have to pick yourself up and give yourself grace and look. It's not even a silver lining necessarily, but it's like, how can I move forward with things that are positive? And it's not like, I don't want to say, oh, somebody dies. What's the positive thing that came out of that? That's not it. It's how to take something from that. And that's where I gained that. And then I had my heart surgery, which was a year after she passed away. And I think God did that on purpose because I don't know if she could have handled her daughter going through heart surgery.
Yeah.
Open heart surgery, major, it replaced a valve. Luckily, I was with a fantastic surgeon and because there were complications and they had to replace part of my aorta.
Oh,
And I also got a pacemaker. So I was 48 when that happened.
wow.
And it was funny, even going into the surgery, I was afraid, but I didn't let that, I said, if I go, I go, what am I going to do? But I got out of that surgery and I had a different outlook on life, even more so that I was going to just live every day because you don't know. And
Right.
then fast forward, I know I'm taking up a lot of time on this, but
No,
it's a
this
little,
is so good. Keep going. Keep
okay.
going.
So, um, I fast forward another 10 years ish, 10, 11 years. Um, I had to have my second surgery. Again,
Did you know that? Did you know that with
I
the first
knew that I would possibly have to, but I didn't know, how long because the valves, they're animal valves. And
Okay.
so, um, and it was kind of a shock. It was in 2020 actually. And, they said, my doctor's like, hey, I think it's time. So I had the surgery at Thanksgiving time, 2020. And at that point, um, I was working in my business. I was in direct sales and I finished my surgery and I said, I want to do, I was, recovering. It was Christmas time and everything. And that year I said, what is it that I want to do? And I love helping people. I love helping women grow their businesses. I did that for over 30 years with my direct sales business. And I said, I want to do more. So many people always ask me things about being positive, about mindset. So many times, I'm sure you see this working with women, we have the tendency to belittle ourselves or think less of ourselves. And that's what I was finding. And I said, I need to reach more people. And that's what I started to do. And I started a coaching business where now have a membership. I do one-on-one and group coaching. And it started with the whole mindset thing because I realized that my confidence in myself and everything for my business started from that positive mindset, which then gave me the confidence to know that I could go and start a business back then, with the direct sales company, and then now as a coach. And I wanted to incorporate that and share with as many people as possible. And that's kind of where that came out. And I just keep talking I just keep talking from my heart about things. And sometimes it fits into this path of doing my business, and sometimes it's just to share with people.
Well, it goes, I love everything that you just said, and I want to like keep opening that up because there's so much there. Because everything we do in life is based on what we believe is possible, right?
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
our thoughts, this I say this all the time, our thoughts determine how we feel about ourselves and our life, and those feelings then determine what we believe is possible about ourselves and our life, and that belief determines the actions that we take. So if we don't believe a lot is possible, what kind of actions are we going to take or not take, right? So you're going into two major, like the way you talked about it was so inspiring because that would have taken a lot of people to their knees, open heart surgery.
Mhm.
And, that I know what that involves. Right, I do. I know exactly
Yeah.
what you went through. And twice, I mean, I don't know. I haven't been through it, but I know what that surgery is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal that you faced that once and then to be told you're going to do that again. So I want to come back to that in a second too, and what your practice was moving into that, because that's, and you had children at the time that were growing, that you're a mother, right? And
Mhm.
it's family, and you're going into facing that again. But I want to say this too, because I just listened to this earlier, and I can't remember now that I'm bringing these facts up, and hopefully they're exactly correct. But I was listening to another podcast, and Jamie Kern Lima, if you've heard of her,
Mhm.
she created like a makeup business, and then now she's written a book. But it's
Sure.
about worthiness. Yeah, and she said 80% of women don't believe they're enough. Right. So you are helping so many women, and that affects every part of our lives, as we know. And she said 75%, I hope I'm getting these numbers correct, 75% of professional women struggle with imposter syndrome,
Mhm.
right? Which I think we all have that a little bit. And then she said 91%, and again, I have no idea where she got these statistics, but I was hearing these on this podcast. 91% of young women didn't feel good about their bodies. And
Yeah.
that one really, right? And it just is like, oh my goodness, like there's so much that needs to be done in the recreating our thoughts to have positivity. And I love the way you described it, that it's not like everything's just rose-colored glasses and butterflies, and that's not life, but it's how we choose. So if you would tell us how you go into, first of all, number one, knowing you're walking into that hospital, what do you do with your mindset, when you're walking away from your family to go into that, and then to do that again, and then we'll get into the 3 C's, because I think that might be where you're going to go.
Sure. As I go into that, the reason if you saw me reach up is, oh, sorry, the background. This says I am enough. This is on my desk. My friend sent this to me years ago. She's a coach, and I keep that there because just like I said, and like you said, with mindset, it's a constant, we're always a work in progress.
Mhm.
It's not a matter of just everything's rose-colored glass. You have to remind yourself you're enough because I have good days, bad days, whatever. And so I have that right above my desk. That's why I grabbed it. Um,
Reminders are so important, aren't they?
yes,
Yes.
definitely. So with the first question about like going into my second surgery, I guess because I grew up knowing I'd have to have it, and even my mother talked to my husband. My husband and I are not, well, I shouldn't say we're high school sweethearts, but we were friends through high school, and we started dating the last week of high school. Um, Literally, our 10-year reunion, some people didn't even know we were together. Uh, but she actually talked to my husband about, when since as we were getting along, not as a teenager, but in our, as we were talking about getting married, she wanted him to understand what he was, not that she wanted him to leave me, but she wanted him to understand what he was going to need to, go through or whatever.
Mhm.
So I guess the second time it was funny. I said, well, I just want to get it done. I don't want to wait. I just want it. I think I talked to the doctors on November 5th. We had the surgery by Thanksgiving. And I just wanted it done. Of course, there were complications the second time too. The surgery they wanted to, it was there's different kinds of ways to do the surgery. And the one procedure was called the Ross procedure. They couldn't do it because I was actually in surgery for 2 days the second time because there was so much scar tissue from the first time.
Oh my
Now
goodness.
I know if I have to have a third surgery, though this valve should last 15 years, but that still makes me a person, hopefully I'm alive.
Right.
Um, and, but I'm hopeful that surgery in, 15 years, well, now it's been 2 years, so 13 years, whatever, will be even different. I realized that surgery when I was a child was really not an option. And my mother was living with the fact that her child could possibly have a problem with their heart and that would be it. And as a mother now, I can't even imagine that feeling, what
Right.
that feels like. Uh, so that's how I went into that. And when I came out, like I said, actually, like I said, it was Thanksgiving. It was the day before Thanksgiving, but I woke up on Thanksgiving because it was 2 days of surgery. And my husband said, Happy Thanksgiving. I said, but with that, that's one of the reasons too, knowing I might have to have another surgery at another time. I said, well, what is it that I want to do? Where is it that I want to go at this, as a lot of people call it a season in life. My children are grown now. My daughter just got married. I take,
Congratulations.
thank you. I take my health very seriously. Like I was saying to you before, I think I started doing Pilates after my first surgery, actually, because I wanted to do things with my core and I loved it. And I joined a gym and we had that. And I take all of these parts very seriously. And when you said about choice, chance, and change, it's all about making choices. It's all about what am I going to choose to do today? Something I do every single day is I wake up. Well, let me rephrase this. I want to do it every single day. Sometimes you wake up and you're really tired and you forget, and then I just do it later. But I usually close my eyes while I'm waking up. My dog's usually pawing me on my shoulder, and I think and say out loud what I'm grateful for.
Awesome.
Anything. It could be a lot of times it's I'm grateful I woke up today. I'm grateful for my dog, my husband, my family. It's just something that I state. It doesn't have to be huge. It could be I'm grateful for the sun. Um, but it grounds me a little bit as opposed to just getting up and starting the day. It's like, okay, I'm grateful for something. And I find that like I said, it grounds me and it helps me, even if, one day you can wake up and feel kind of poopy, but it's really a great starting point. And when you were saying, I was talking about choice, change, and say it three times fast.
Yeah,
Choice,
right.
choice, chance, and change. So, and I've heard it from somebody else too. So, you grab things and then you make them part of your own. And what you were talking about is what choices do you make each day? And everything is a choice. It's a choice to choose to be positive. It's a choice to feel down. It's a choice to get up. It's a choice to take a walk. It's a choice. I actually just wrote an email for my newsletter about choosing your hard because you being, with health and wellness too, you could choose to work out, which might be hard. You'd rather sit on the couch and watch TV or something, or you could choose to not be as healthy. You could choose to be overweight. You could choose to become obese because, you like pizza and, cake. I like pizza and cake too. I just don't eat it as, all the time. But that's choosing your hard. Which hard do you want to choose? And that's kind of how I look at it is what choice you're going to make. And I love the second part with it. Like I said, it's choice and then chance, because I really believe in pushing past barriers, stepping out of your comfort zone. And let me tell you, every time I am thinking about stepping outside of my comfort zone, I get anxious. I mean, anxious to the like, okay, doing something new, learning something new. But I do believe that is when you have growth. So it's what choice are you going to make and what chance do you want to take? And I don't mean jumping off of like a building kind of a thing, or, I'm probably not going to jump out of an airplane with a parachute. That's probably a chance I'm not willing to take, but somebody else might, because what do you want to change in your life? And that's how I look at things too. It's what choices are, what choice is there today, even just one thing or the other. And today it was interesting. It's very, very rainy here. We had a beautiful day the other day, and today's rainy and gloomy. And I said, well, what choices do I have today? What do I have to do? And it doesn't have to be huge each day. It just has to be, okay, I can choose to, like today I chose to do Pilates and weightlifting this morning. Those were my choices. I hurt my knee the other day and I was like, oh, do I really want to do that? But no, I chose to do that. And because I want, where was I going to go? And my chance that I'm taking today is I'm doing some new things, trying to find, I'm scared of tech all the time, though people come to me about tech questions. It's interesting because I push myself to go through it because I want to do new things. And, and I know I also talk a lot. I know that, but it's my train of thought. So sorry.
Oh, no,
I'm
no,
going.
I love it. It's all so good because we can all relate. Everyone, I mean, I'm relating 100% with everything that you're saying because these are the things. It doesn't matter if we're talking about business or relationship or our own daily practices in any area of our wellness. We all have these moments where we want to talk ourselves out of things. We go back to old programming, right? And we go back to the old thoughts and whatever those are. And isn't it interesting to know that at every moment we have I always say the choice of awareness to go, okay, is this a thought I want to think? Or do I want to choose a new one, just like I choose the clothes I wear in the morning and the food that I eat? And I remember all those years ago when I had that moment of, oh, I could actually decide to think differently. It was just this mind-blowing awareness of I was watching PBS and my daughter was, I think, in preschool or kindergarten, and she had a friend playing and they were watching Sesame Street, and then they ran off to play, and then Wayne Dyer came on, and it was my very first, I don't know if follow
Yes,
Wayne
I do.
Dyer. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he came on a PBS special and he started talking about, I think it was Wishes Fulfilled, or I can't remember which book he was talking about because he did so many PBS specials and they were all great. But he started talking this way and it just cracked open this idea. And it was like the first time I realized, wait a minute, you mean I could actually decide how I want to feel today? It just was, right? It's
Yeah,
a choice. And that's why I loved that when you said, what choice are you making? What chance are you taking to make the change you're dreaming of? Because
yeah,
ultimately we all have, regardless of our age, our season in life, whatever we choose to do for a living or all of those things, we all have a dream. We all have hopes and we all have goals. And how many times do we just not choose that
right. I
because of what we feel about ourselves or our life or whatever is possible?
Yeah, I was going through a tough time with my business about 4 years ago. And you could be doing really well and then just everything falls and it just keeps tumbling down. And I started um, feeling badly and trying everything. So I made different choices to do things. And one of the things I started doing was really working on affirmations and thinking differently about where I am and what I'm doing. And I started just looking, I would Google positive affirmations and things like that. And if I go through it, was feeling badly, I'll go, okay, what can I say to myself? Like you said, I can choose to think a different way. And anytime I hear myself saying, like, you're an idiot, I mean, because that's something that I don't know what I never use that word to anyone,
Right.
ever. I never
Right.
call anybody that. And sometimes you could just do the silliest thing, like you forget to mail a bill or something, and you say, oh, what an idiot. And then
Mhm.
I catch myself still, but I'll say, no, you made a mistake,
Mhm.
but you're human, and go ahead and you are worth it. And that's why I have my little note that says you're enough. I have lots of things up above here. What else? I have so many like little post-it notes.
I
It's one
do
of the
too. We're so similar. I do too.
one of
Reminders are
the
everything.
Yeah, one of the things I started talking to people about in my trainings and stuff is and it's a fun thing to do. I don't know where I heard it from. If I heard it from somewhere, it came in, I don't, it's some, thing like that. But take post-it notes or just a little piece of paper with positive affirmations or just words that you love or whatever, and hide them around your house. Like not really hide them, but put them in places like in your sock drawer, underneath something. And you forget about it. And then when you're doing something, you see it because then it's like, oh, that's cute. That's fun, especially if you're having a bad day.
I
And
love that.
I like to do things like that create it's okay. And like again, it's not a matter of, what. Oh, I have another thing here. By changing your thinking, you change your beliefs, you change so everything all over the place here. But it's about making that choice to speak to yourself differently.
Mhm.
And we talk about this a lot too, is speak to yourself the way you would speak to a friend. Like I said, I never tell anyone else they're an idiot. Why would I tell myself I was?
Yes. Yes.
And it makes a huge difference. And I'm a happier person because of it. And this is the other thing. I give myself grace. Whenever I do say something to myself that's bad, or, I'm had a bad day and I'm feeling kind of down, I give myself grace. It's okay. And then pick myself up and go forward. And I think that's really important because sometimes we're just like, well, we're supposed to be okay. So tell ourselves, but you have to forgive yourself too. Or like I said, give yourself grace. It's not even forgiving. It's just, it's okay.
It is okay. And, those are the moments we learn the most, right? Because if we didn't ever have the down times, or, we've got to have those times where we learn how to pick ourselves back up again. And gym analogies are things I use all the time. We're not going to grow muscles in the gym if we just go to the same limit we go to all the time. If we don't ever have the time where we have to go through the resistance and the growth process, right? It's not comfortable, but that's what gives us better strength, that higher version of our ability to then do whatever it is we're doing. So I love gym analogies because we can all relate to that. And it's like that in every part of life. So I love that because so many times I think people skip over. A lot of people want to have a morning practice. They want to have an evening practice. They want to have a positivity practice. We all have heard about the gratitude list. And, sometimes we want to do these things, but we don't do them. We know they're important, but then we skip over them because they seem so simple. They seem so simple. And yet it's the simple things that really become the most powerful, but it's the consistency, and it's creating that consistency. So you're touching on things that I absolutely love, the consistency of that, the simpleness, and how powerful that is. And then reminders. I'm big with reminders because it's so easy for us, especially if we didn't grow up knowing these things and learning these things and having it be our habit, because everybody grows up and goes through whatever learning process they went through, and they absorbed what they saw and absorbed what they heard, and it may or may not have been a positive, and who knows, right? So we
Sure.
have these programs in our brain, like you said, where did that thought come from? Why is she saying that to me? And then you go, no, you're okay, it's okay, right? So we do that, we talk back to our that voice and we go, no, it's okay, we're fine, because the brain is going to do one thing, and then we go to the heart and say what the heart says, no, we're good. And I love that because that's the grace that we do give others. And, like we would talk to our children, let's talk to our self that way. But you're touching on those things because the reminders are necessary for us to get out of the old programming that's a subconscious software in the background of our
Sure.
brain, and then go into the positivity of, this is how I want to think, this positivity. So having said all of that, I know you have a morning practice that you share with people, and I would love it if you would be so generous to share that with, or just a little bit about it, and where you offer that, and what you.
Sure. Well, it's called my, it's funny. It's not that I've changed the name. I just think of it in so many different ways. But the way I have it listed is the Morning Mindset Video Guide, because I had it as a morning routine, but it's a mindset routine. Again, you could call it whatever you want to. I put it together. It's what I do, and I created a video guide. It's like a little baby mini course. It's about 20 minutes, and it's me talking to the screen with some slides. So it really goes through how to create what I do for my morning routine, which is a combination of different things that I've learned from different people. Um, you know, all about, having a good basis to start the day. And one of the big things about it is one of the things I do it's a process, is I have people, and then it can be written down, is list your accomplishments.
Mm.
Because so often that may sound almost like, well, what does that have to do with it specifically? But whenever we're feeling down about ourselves, as oh, I'm not good enough for this, I can't do this, and that's what I started doing when I said I was having a bad time 4 years ago with my business, is I said, well, what have I done? And I mean down to the nitty gritty, like if you got an A on a science project in sixth grade, because people think, oh, well, I haven't done anything fantastic. You didn't, you're not a senator or something like that. But that's not, it's small things.
Right.
And it's, I even list, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, those are accomplishments,
Yes.
giving birth, raising children, things
100%.
like that. And one of the things that what I do, and what makes, not mine, but a friend of mine actually suggested to me, why don't you record your voice doing it? So what I have everybody do is there's different things about affirmations. There's about what health things do you want to do for your exercise? What's your plan? So that you actually state it to yourself. And then I've recorded my voice and I change it. I probably make a new recording every 6 months because I list goals too, what my goals are. And then I record my voice on my voice memos on my phone. I ask Alexa to play spa music, or you can put any music you want to, it doesn't really matter, in the background. So I am actually, I call it a mini podcast to myself, repeating every day what it is. And I listen to it while I walk my dogs, but you could listen to it while you take, right out of the shower, you're getting dressed. And it's listing my accomplishments, goals, tons of affirmations. And by the end of it, it's literally you talking to yourself. So as we say, we always want to try and change what's in the back of your head and say, well, I want to think this instead. That's what it is. And that's why I encourage people, you don't have to record it. You can just read it or have it, to look at. Kind of like if you look at an affirmation, like I was saying with the post-it notes. But if you actually hear yourself saying it to yourself, it can be so encouraging.
Wow. I never thought about that. Listening to your own voice back to yourself, telling
Yeah.
yourself that could be real. Yeah, that's powerful.
It's super easy. I literally hold my phone and I stand next to the Alexa and I tell her to play music and I just do it, just tweaking the sound and everything. I like the music too, so it's not monotonous. And then you start to understand the rhythm of the music with your voice as you're walking, because I usually do it while I'm walking my dog. And that to me helps me so much. And I know it's helped a bunch of the people that I work with too. So a fun little tidbit. You can get it if people want to grab it. It's you can follow me on Instagram. It's underscore Karen Pepe, KarenPepe, and it's in the link right in my bio. You
We'll
can
add
grab.
this in the show notes too, so
Yeah,
people will
I'll give
be
you the actual
able to
link
click
too.
on that, and then we'll share it on both of our socials, and
Yeah,
people can grab that because it is the simple things that are so powerful. And I talk about this in training. We've got to start with the core awareness. We've got to start with the basics. We've got to get the foundation, but we tend to overlook those because we think we have to do something so big and so right. And those simple things, if we're just consistent every day, and the positivity is so powerful, but it's become this kind of fluff thing, I think, in a lot of people's minds, and it's not. It's powerful
yeah.
to reprogram.
Yeah, that's why I always say it's not looking at everything as woo, everything's great. It's
Right.
reframing and starting and like you said, for if you have a big goal for a health goal or any kind of goal, if you look at the end, that can be daunting. But if you just look at today, I'm going to do this one thing,
Right.
even if, and that makes a huge, huge difference. We have so many things in common. I think of like all
We
the
do.
things you're talking about. I'm like, oh my gosh,
We do. We really
we'll be
do.
talking a lot.
I know. I love that. And I know we could just keep going. And but I do want to go a little bit. I want to touch on something you brought up because I think it's so important and I think it will help a lot of people when you said, you know, anything, even if it's the sixth grade, I can't remember exactly what you said, sixth grade
Science project
science
A.
project. Yes. Whatever that is. So sometimes we do have days where we got up today and we took a
Mhm.
shower today, and we both work with a lot of women, and, people are going through a lot, and, the world is what it is, and everybody's got challenges. And what we see on social media a lot of times are just the highlight reels of everybody's lives, right? And the
Yeah.
facade. And now with all the AI, anybody can say they're anywhere, or they can do, right? Anybody. And so, I always talk about making sure we're staying out of this comparisonitis, this competition, this whole holding ourselves to some kind of standard that probably isn't even, maybe it's real, maybe it's not, but it doesn't matter. So, and then they beat themselves up in those moments of thinking they're not as good as, or not enough, or not as accomplished as. And we see that in a lot of people, regardless of age or season, right, in life. And so
Yeah.
getting back to the basics of that. And then if we're having a day where we're not feeling like we did anything, or we did anything worthy of feeling accomplished, we can always go back to what you said. What can I focus on that I have? Because that brings the brain back to, or not the brain, the mindfulness back to, positivity of I've done this before, I can do it again, or looking at other accomplishments and going, if they can do this, guess what? I can too. And facing technology issues, facing anything. And then when you said, so this is where I wanted to go with this, giving yourself the grace, because what if today, what if things happen in everybody's lives? What if today it's, I got up and I showered and I am feeling good and accomplished about that because I could have stayed in bed all day. Or
Right.
I got up and I actually made a meal and I got dressed, right? Or I got up and I decided to think positive. That's an accomplishment. And I don't
Yeah.
think we give ourselves enough grace. So I love that you said that. And if you want to talk about that more, I think that would be awesome.
Yeah. It's so easy to put ourselves down or compare ourselves to everybody.
Yep.
And something that I really, it's actually something that I do in my entire business is I want people to use their own strengths and show their authentic self. Because if you're trying to be somebody else, you can admire somebody. That's great. I think that's a good thing. There's certainly people that I admire and you might want to emulate something or you see something that you're like, oh, that's a good thing I'd like to do. But that doesn't mean you should be them. I mean, I'm me. I'm getting old. I'm starting to get gels, I've noticed lately.
I,
But that's okay. And
I feel you. I got
yeah,
that
I'm like,
too.
okay.
Yep.
And, I'm getting gray and I decided to let that go. But it, I could choose something different. And I used to dye my hair just because I like different colors. But the point is, I can't look at it and you can't, and no one should look at it and go, well, they're prettier, they're thinner, they're smarter. Because guess what? And I was talking to my husband about this today. So many times people are like, oh, there's that person, and you can't talk to them that a certain way, and you're afraid or whatever of them because they're of whatever stature. And I said, they're all human.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? Those people that you might be comparing yourself to, they have all these same doubts and everything else. They
Mm-hmm.
do.
Mm-hmm.
They just do. And it, and I work with a bunch of different women that sometimes I wish they could see what I see in them. I'm helping them to do that, but you can see it so much in someone else. And that's what I say. Look at how you look at your friends and then see that in you. What is it? What's that accomplishment? What's that thing? And that even that just that one thing, you took the shower, you took a step outside. What is it that, even I can have we all have different things with our body that we like or don't like and whatnot. And someone said this to me a long time ago. If you're feeling down about your body, say something nice about your body.
Yes.
What is it that you like? Like, I like my elbows,
Yes.
whatever it might be. I like my nose. There's different things.
Yes.
And again, if you just say that one thing, it makes such a big difference. It just does. And it's
It
it's
turns,
always a work. It's
yeah,
always work. It doesn't come automatically.
right. And what you're teaching is so, so, so powerful because that's the catalyst. That one shift, that one choice changes everything. We can go this road or that road. Like I always think of a train. Well, and I told this story on a recent podcast too, and I'll tell that in a second. But like a train is going down the tracks. And if you've ever watched a train and just when like that little engineer, whoever does it, they
Mhm.
change the track just a little bit. And instead of it continuing to go there before the train got there, they do that little shift of the
Yeah.
tracks. And now it's off in a whole different direction. And that's how I think of that. And then I heard a story about a ship. And if the captain of the ship is going north at whatever degrees they go, or I don't know, I'm not, not
Yeah.
versed in how you captain a ship, but you change that course off, say they're going due north, you change that course just 2 degrees off course, they're going to end up in a completely different continent at some point. And it's not like they did a 180. So we think so many times that we have this big goal or we feel like we're behind or we feel like we haven't done whatever, right?
Mhm.
And we feel like we have to do this 180 and do everything right now. And that's this instant society and the pressure we feel from seeing other people and the highlight reels and, oh, they're already there. And what have I been doing? And then we get down on ourselves, but we can stop in that moment of awareness and go, okay, back to the positivity, because that is the foundation of that shift to go, I'm not going to keep going down that road. I'm going to shift and I'm going to go here. And a 2-degree shift, a little bit, and I'm going to be in a completely different place by the end of the day.
I love
And
that analogy.
that moment is everything. And that's what I love that you're bringing up, because again, people just kind of, they think they have to do bigger, but we've got to stay consistent with these very powerful foundational things.
No, I agree.
Ah,
You're inspiring me right now for some things. I've thought of all these things I need to talk to my people in my membership about. I'm like, okay.
see, and isn't this great? Because when we share and we combine this energy and the positivity and the different ways we're able to help ourselves, and that's helping everybody else. These conversations are going to be so powerful for other people. And then it raises my energy, and I mean, you're inspiring me. And so when we can do that for each other, it's not a competition. We rise by helping others. Who
Oh,
said that?
definitely.
Who
Yes.
said somebody said
I'm not
somebody
sure.
was
Somebody
it
did.
Jim Rohn, I think, maybe, or one of those, I think it was Jim Rohn. I can't remember. I might
I think
be,
so too. I
was
think it
it?
is.
Okay, I
Yeah.
might be giving credit to, but anyway, somebody said it, and it's so, and it's been said, everything people say it different ways.
Right.
And you and I both have probably studied with lots of different inspiring people, and they all have their own approach to it. But yeah, I mean, we rise by lifting others, and that's a whole completely different positivity shift. We're not in competition. There is more than enough for everyone
It
to,
makes me, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, you go.
It makes, that is my happy place. My happy place is when I see someone that I've worked with succeeds, whatever it is, when they're smiling and they're happy and they're achieving whatever it is, that is like the world to me. It's just, it's everything. It goes to my kids, my family, everybody. That's my happy place is when I see that. And like I said, I came from a direct sales background, and there were so many women that I helped move up to different levels. And I was, I mean, yes, of course, you're happy when you achieve something too, but I was happiest with them achieving the things because I saw them come in much like I did, a young mom and just starting out, trying to figure things out and trying to work job and home and kids and home and everything
Mhm.
and succeed and to help somebody else do that. And that's why I started my coaching program because I just wanted to do that with more and more people and outside of just what I was doing. And yeah, and I can see how it makes you so happy when you're helping someone. It's like, yes, it is great.
It is, and reminding them. So I have one of my new clients is in her 70s,
Mhm.
and she had never exercised before in her life. And
Wow.
she's so excited. And she wants to be able to, get up and down without assistance. And she's looking into the next 20 years of her life, which I find fascinating, right? Because how many times do we sit and think about what we should have done in the past? And that's negative thinking, and right. And the
Right.
positivity shift is to what can we be grateful for today? Like you said, right away. I love that, because that is the shift of taking it from that old programming, getting us present. And then now we can start looking at, well, what do we want for the future? How do I want to feel? Let's focus on that. And so she came with that knowledge of, I want to make sure that 20 years from now, I'm not struggling to get up and down, and I'm starting to kind of feel that. And she's like, so I'm taking this positive step. And I said, I love that. Congratulations. This is fantastic. You're going to do great. So we're starting her with the core strength and all of that. And one day she was like, oh, I just feel like I've waited too long. And I said, no, you're here. This is what we focus on. You are here and you're doing great. And this is going to be fantastic. And so that little tiny, again, just back to the positivity, the affirmation of, instead of, oh, I waited too long and I've wasted so much time. Nope, you're here now.
Right.
Here now. And that is applicable in business and relationships in every part of our lives. And so helping women in direct sales businesses is fantastic, because we both know in any kind of a business, it is especially entrepreneurialism,
Yeah.
right? It's like a business, but it's all about self-development, because you learn so many things about yourself.
Very much. It's funny. It's not about it. It's almost everything. I actually, everything is mindset. Everything is
100%.
every single solitary thing, whether you make a sale or you just anything. It's all about your mindset. You could derail yourself or boost yourself up. and in anything in life. I'm constantly like, it's mindset, it's mindset, it's mindset. And that's why
I,
it's a work in progress because you have to remind yourself because it's so easy, like you said, to go back to the old ways of doing.
And do you find, I find this a lot. I found it in myself, and it's something that I know I still work on, even at 57, still working, right? It's an ongoing, lifelong, daily thing, right? Um, Women especially, we tend to have a hard time being able to congratulate ourselves. We're always like, oh no, we have trouble, right? Taking a
Yeah.
compliment. I've been working on this. I've been working on, I hear all the time when you start to work on something, then you hear it everywhere else. And that reticular activating system, right? You start focusing on something and you see it and hear it everywhere. And I'm not saying I'm sorry anymore. Instead of, oh, I'm sorry, it's thank you so much for your patience. I'm so
Yeah.
happy, right? Or instead of, moving past somebody in the grocery store, oh, I'm sorry. It's like, oh, hi, nice to
Oh, I
meet you.
like that. Yeah, that's
Right?
yeah.
Because again, it's those words we put in our head that have a meaning, maybe from an old programming, and it can take us down a negative road. We know how quickly that can happen. That's why these things that you're sharing are so valuable for every woman to know. And then when it comes to somebody saying, oh, it's so good to see, oh, you look so great. Oh, no, I just gotta, right? We do that.
I
And
know.
I've been really working on that. And even in the store, saying hi to somebody and making sure to make eye contact with them and really try to give energy and a smile, because we just all really need that with each other, for each other, from each other. Not just going to raise everybody's level of worthiness.
I love it. Yeah.
Women especially. Do you find that? That was my question.
Oh, yes, definitely. It's funny you said that about compliments. I've been working on that myself because it's so easy for us to be like, "Oh no," that instead of just take a breath and be like, "Thank you. That's so nice of you."
Yes.
Because it's so easy it's almost like it's embarrassing to accept a compliment. And
Yeah.
it's funny that you said that. I'm working on that. It's just, yeah, everything you said. It's
And
just
that's going to be great in business. So when you're helping women with their businesses, to be able to own something that someone says is good about them, they're able to own their success. And we get so stuck in, especially as women, we're nurturers, we are always, especially as mothers, we're taking care of, we're always encouraging everyone else, but we tend to forget that it's okay for us. We feel like we're not able to receive that. And that couldn't be further from the truth. I always say this, you can't give away what you don't have. And if we don't allow ourselves to feel accomplished, how are we going to be able to give that feeling to someone else or share that with someone else? And it's okay to be like, because that's going to take us to the next level. If we feel accomplished in something we've done today, we're going to have more energy to do something bigger. And in business, we want to feel accomplished. We want to feel like we're making a difference, especially in sales. The sale is important. That's making sure that someone then, has what our service and our product
right,
is or
whatever they
whatever.
need.
And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so why do we hold that back thinking that that's being humble? Humble doesn't mean we don't own our own attributes. And I love to bring that out in other women too. Like, you get to be this beautiful, amazing, unique, you have these unique gifts and talents that only you have. And to hold those back is not to hold them back is selfish,
Right.
right?
It doesn't help anyone.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I didn't say that as well as I'm sure you probably could have said it better, but
No,
you
I think you said it great.
okay. We think that we're being humble, but we're actually, and we don't want to be selfish. So we don't want to stand, we don't want to stand out, or we don't want to, oh,
It's something I don't know why it seems to be ingrained in most women, that
mhm.
we think we're bragging or, it, or somehow we're not worthy enough to do it. And I don't know why, but yeah, it's much better to just, like you said, take that time to really accept it. And then even if you don't feel like you deserve that compliment, it's like, okay, I do, it's okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And that's a strengthening of that part of our, right? It's like another muscle. It's a muscle of worthiness. Let's call it that. Like, we can strengthen our muscle of worthiness by saying those things to ourselves. I love, love, love. I'm going to do this. I'm writing things down. I'm going to do this. You're making that recording in your own voice. I can see how powerful that is to your brain because
Yeah.
we know when we say things now, it's a neural synapse that's being created in our brain, an actual road map in our brain, a
Yeah.
neural pathway. And I do this in the gym with people. It's like we repeat these different, like I have them think about what muscle they're using. We focus on it. We talk about it. I have, visualizations I have them think about with that muscle and different things because that is then implanting these new roadmaps in the brain. And when we say those things, it's important because we're reprogramming old things and we're creating new neural pathways. But when you hear it, like you said, to record what you're saying instead of just reading it out, but actually hear it in your voice, like it's different when you say it and you're hearing it out of your mouth in your head, but
Right.
to have it come from, yeah, I can just see the difference there and the power in that.
It's so helpful. And that's why I re-record it usually every 6 months or so. If I find it, I'll find a new affirmation that I love and I'll put it in. So sometimes I've got like 20 minutes of a little, I call it my mini podcast to myself.
I love
But
it.
and you can change it up or whatever. I find different things and to hear it, it really, really does help because especially if you're feeling down about yourself and you have negative thoughts about yourself, I'll put it on a second time in a day if I'm having a bad day, just to
That's
hear it.
so good. I've never heard that before and I love it.
So try it. It'll be fun.
I'm definitely going to try it. I absolutely love that. And it'll help women too that will maybe not want to hear their own voice or a lot of people struggle with that.
Right.
And that's going to be another way for them to start realizing their own unique
Right.
talents and gifts and worthiness and all of that is just continuing to expand that part of
Yeah.
it. And it's so important. We need women to stand up. We need women to take ownership of their gifts and their talents and not be afraid to share generously with the world. We need women to step into business. We need women to step into whatever their passion and their purpose is. We just need that. And
Yeah.
to support and encourage each other is so powerful. And it's life changing, right? And it's all the little things, or it's that there's no level of accomplishment. They could be, rescuing an animal, taking in or taking care of a child, whatever it is, taking care of a child, like you said, being a mother, that's a huge accomplishment,
Yeah.
right? And because it's something we do, we kind of skip over how absolutely life-changing that is because you're bringing this person into the world to bring their own unique and talents and gifts to the world. We need this. We just really, this is such a powerful conversation, helping women to just have the knowledge every day that I can choose to be positive. And what you do with women is really amazing. I just think what you do is amazing. I think
Thank you.
everything you've said is like a beautiful song that women need to hear. It is.
Thank you. See, I'm accepting it.
Good because it's true.
Thank you.
It's really, really important, and I love everything that you're saying. I love
Well,
every.
I'm loving everything that you're saying about what you do too. That's why we connected. So there we
That's
go.
right. That's right. And we could talk forever, and I want to, but I also want to respect your time. I really could talk to you for another hour.
No,
I
me too.
really, really could. Karen, you are just a bright light, and I
Thank you. I
just,
feel the same about you.
oh,
I'm like watching you talk. I'm like, oh, this is amazing.
well, we're going to talk again, I can
Yes,
tell. I would love to
definitely.
have you come back. What you have to share and teach is so incredibly valuable, and I can't wait to share how everyone listening can find you, and that will be put in the show notes.
Great.
So I'm going to ask you, first of all, again, thank you so much for your time. You've
Thank
given
you so
us,
much for inviting me. I
oh,
love being here.
my pleasure. I have just enjoyed it and learned so much and taken notes. So first of all, where can people find you? And then the last question I want to ask you is I love to give everybody one thing that they can take home, they can take into their day and implement and apply an action step, one action step that they can do today that's going to help them feel like they're taking action.
Okay. So, first, I would say go to my Instagram account because it's super easy. Like I said, underscore Karen Pepe. And then there's links to my website. As I was saying before, I'm creating the YouTube channel. So you'll be able to follow that. That will be Karen Pepe Positivity Project.
Love it.
And my website is literally karenpepe.com.
Love
Super,
it.
super easy. Doing revamping with that with technology, so that's fun. And you can find out a little bit more about me in all of those places. I'm on Facebook also, in Karen Pepe Positivity Project is my page. And I have a membership on Facebook for that. Not my, I have a paid membership, which is called the Growth Project membership, but I also have a community called Cooking Up Mojo, because
Oh,
Mojo is your self-awareness, your self-efficacy, like all that inner part of you. And so it's all about women and helping them find their uniqueness, shine that light, a lot of positive reinforcement and things like that. So that's a great place to go to. Just ask to join. It's fun, nice group of people.
I
Nice.
love that. And I wanted to say this real quick, and then I want if you would answer that last question and
Sure.
give us one thing. But I love everything that you're offering, because everything is what you're offering is so generous. And what I always say is, we women, we love to give. We love to give. We forget sometimes to give to ourselves. We forget sometimes, like we said, to stand up and actually share our gifts and our talents with the world, because we feel like we might be, like, look at me, or arrogant, and that's not, we're being selfish by withholding that, right? Like we talked about, because the ultimate success is fulfillment of giving, right? The generosity is what we really love. And if we don't allow ourselves to be able to be generous, we're not going to feel that fulfillment. And so that's what you're giving to women, is that empowerment to be able to show up and be successful in whatever area they're wanting to be successful in. And then they're going to be able to be generous because of that. And that's what's going to help them feel fulfilled, because they're going to be giving themselves then to the world and their families and whatever it is they do. And that fulfillment is key. It's
Yeah,
absolutely, yeah,
it definitely is.
yeah.
So with that, with an action step, like I was going to say, well, I still am saying this. The one thing that I would suggest is start having a gratitude practice every day. Say something, just I literally, my eyes are closed and I say, I'm grateful for this. So that would be the first thing. And the second thing is just start to do one little thing that say, even if it's just one little affirmation, record your voice saying that and play it back to yourself. Like practice it, do one step at a time. You can check out the whole little video and it gives you a guide on how to do it. It's easy. It's easy. Gives you some suggestions, but just do it yourself. Get on and just record a couple of affirmations and see how it feels. And it'll help. It
I
definitely will.
love that. You know what? We definitely need to talk about this more, because I think there's a whole podcast on affirmations.
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
I think
I
there's
keep
a
finding
whole,
I keep finding more and more affirmation. I'm like, ooh, that's a good one. Ooh, that's a good one. My phone is lots of screenshots of affirmations.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I don't even want to stop this recording. Like, we could go into a whole other hour on that. So we definitely have to come back.
Okay, definitely.
I
And
would,
then, like I said, my YouTube channel, I will have you over there too. So that'll be fun.
excellent. I can't wait. All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
I'm
you, Lori. It's been
so happy to
wonderful.
know you. Yeah, this has been just a pleasure. Absolutely.
So
All right.
excited to have been here.
All right. Well, this will be the first of a number of them, I can tell. All right. Have a great day. Thanks so
Thank you.
much.
You too.
All right. I'm so happy you were here for this episode of Conscious Wellness. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. And if you like this show and you feel you're receiving valuable information and tools that you can apply to your life today, please share this with a friend. We want everyone to feel excited and intentional about their future. And we want you to get up every day feeling empowered to take positive action steps toward better wellness. If you haven't already, please subscribe and please rate and review. We're so grateful. And send us your questions. Let us know what topics you want to learn more about. You can send a message to info@elliswellness.com or the contact form at elliswellness.com, where you can also sign up for the newsletter. Thank you so much. Now go out there and have an amazing day.